heartfelt apology and condolences. The pain of watching a loved one endure public scrutiny, hostility, and endless controversy cannot be understated. Seeing his name and image repeatedly splashed across front pages, often accompanied by derogatory remarks, must have been an unbearable burden. Regardless of one's opinion on Chebukati, his impact on Kenya's electoral landscape is undeniable. Under his leadership, electoral processes saw significant transformations, largely driven by legal reforms and court interventions. The numerous electoral petitions filed during his time in office served as a crucial test for the country's democratic institutions, strengthening the mechanisms meant to ensure fairness and accountability in future elections. As a country, we must now commit to shaping a more robust electoral system. The process of appointing the next IEBC chairperson and commissioners must be beyond reproach, free from political interference, and designed to restore public confidence. More importantly, political leaders must pledge to honor the decisions of the electoral body, even when the results are not in their favor. The future of Kenya's democracy depends on our collective willingness to build institutions that can withstand political storms and ensure the will of the people prevails. Good evening. Welcome to EBN Weekend Edition. Former IEBC chairperson WAFULA Wanyonyi Chebukati succumbs to long illness as family says they do not know the cause of death yet. President William Ruto leads the nation in mourning WAFULA Chebukati as a man who served the nation diligently. Universal health coverage nurses bring Mombasa CBD to a standstill, demand permanent and pensionable employment terms. Our sign language interpreter tonight is Laura Omondi. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Shocking news of the death of former IEBC chairperson WAFULA Chebukati rocked the airwaves on Friday morning after reports of his deteriorating health while admitted at a Nairobi hospital. The family confirmed the news, saying they are yet to establish the cause of his death. Chebukati passed away on Thursday at 11 p.m., with the family spokesperson Eric Nyongesa WAFULA explaining that the family will hold a meeting this night to discuss pertinent matters, including whether to conduct a post-mortem to determine the cause of death or not.
Obviously aware by now, last night we were unlucky to have lost the former chairman of IEBC, WAFULA Wanyonyi Chebukati. He passed on in hospital here. And present with me, if I may do introduction, this is his elder son, Jonathan Chebukati, and this is his last born son, Emmanuel Chebukati, and his brother-in-law Kuts. All that the family is requesting currently is that we are all saddened with the loss, and as the family comes to terms with the loss, we are all asking everybody, including the press, the media, everybody running the social forums, please kindly allow the family some privacy during this very difficult moment. We'll be able to issue a formal communication hopefully by tomorrow, after the family has had a meeting. The father came from Kitale last night. He's also here. We want to allow him to rest. The family will be having a meeting in the evening. And after the meeting in the evening, tomorrow, hopefully in the morning, we should be able to send out some communication. But for the moment, we'll hit a situation where there's speculation. He was unwell and he rested yesterday.
Elections results nullification by the Supreme Court. Commissioners distancing themselves from the results. WAFULA Chebukati faced an unusual challenge at the IEBC, testing his leadership and the institution he was mandated to steer. Our reporter Tabitha Wanjiru tells us more on his time in office.
I, Wanyonyi Wafula Chebukati.
The late WAFULA CHEBUKAT'i joined the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission in the year 2017 after being appointed by the former President Uhuru Kenyatta as the chairperson. His tenure was marked by challenges including overseeing 2017 and 2022 general elections. In the year 2017, the presidential election results were annulled by the Supreme Court due to the irregularities leading to a repeat election.
To whether there were irregularities and illegalities committed in the conduct of the 2017 presidential elections, the court was satisfied that the first respondent committed irregularities and illegalities inter alia in the transmission of results, particulars and the substance of which will be given in the detailed and reasoned judgment of the court.
This was a historic moment as it was the first time a presidential election had been overturned in Kenya. Despite the turmoil, CHEBUKAT'i remained resolute navigating the commission through the repeat polls. In the 2022 elections, CHEBUKAT'i declared William Ruto as the president-elect amidst internal divisions within the commission. 4 commissioners disputed the results, leading to a public fallout. On the very day he was announcing the results, there erupted some chaos just before his arrival that involved some officials. Despite the internal discord and external pressures, CHEBUKAT'i stood by and announced the results, which were later upheld by the Supreme Court.
And that's why I stand before you today, despite intimidation, harassment, I took an oath of office to serve this country, and I've done my duty in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of the land.
His tenure was also marred by tragic events, including the death of IEBC officials Chris Musando in 2017 and Daniel Musyoka in 2022. These incidents cast a shadow over the electoral process, but CHEBUKAT'i remained steadfast in his commitment to overseeing credible elections.
Our commission, we are looking forward that all Kenyans must be secured, all employees of IEBC must be secured for this country to have a free and fair election.
Upon his retirement in January, had Kenya's second highest civilian honor in recognition of his service. He then retreated from public life, with reports indicating a decline in his health leading up to his passing.
Some people died, which led to the formation of the multi-sectoral forum. I have invited the religious leaders for a prayer breakfast on Monday 23rd to pray for myself and the commissioners before we start working.
Tabitha Wanjiro reporting for EBN TV, Nairobi.
Let's get to know more about this man that rose to limelight in 2017, taking oath of office and subsequently resuming as the chairperson of the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. Now, WAFULA Wanyonyi CHEBUKAT'i, that is his full name. He was born on the age this year in December, and so he has died at the age of 63. Now, he attended Lenana School and later joined the University of Nairobi, where he held a Bachelor's of Law degree and a Master of Business Administration from the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. One thing to note is that whoever rises to assume the office of the IEBC chairperson must have done a degree in law. At the same time, he was a member of the Law Society of Kenya, the Institute of Certified Secretariats, and the International Court of Justice. Now, more to WAFULA Wanyonyi CHEBUKAT'i, where we can speak of, just his career that proceeded after finishing the Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. In 2006, he founded a Nairobi-based law firm called Kolo and Associates Advocates. He was a member of ODM Party and once contested the Saboti constituency parliamentary seat in the year 2007. Now, was a member of ODM party. As he assumed the ranks of chairperson of IEBC, he resigned from office. He had vied for MP Saboti parliamentary constituency in 2007. In January 17, 2017, he joined IEBC as chair, but before that, President Uhuru Kenyatta back then had nominated him for the position in 2016. And so in January 17, 2017, he took oath of office as the IEBC chair, among other persons who assumed office as members of the commission, as well as vice chairperson of the IEBC. Now, let's get more as well about his profile, just, after he has assumed office, some of the events that followed and key events that occurred during his time in office. Now, he oversaw 3 elections. That was 2017 general elections, the elections which were nullified, the famous election that put Kenya on the global map in terms of countries with independent institutions and one of the strongest democracy, becoming one of the few nations across the world which elections have been nullified by the then Chief Justice David Maraga. That was in 2017. After nullifying the elections, the judges ordered for a repeat elections, which were held in October 2017. And if you remember keenly, Raila Odinga back then said he would not be contesting in those particular elections. Well, the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, and Ekuru Okot of Third Way Alliance proceeded to be in the ballot, which subsequently led to Uhuru Kenyatta winning the repeat polls in October. And then the 2022 general elections, the much contested one as well. You remember the choir at Bomas of Kenya, the famous choir, as well as the events that happened at Bomas of Kenya with Azimio Coalition faulting the chairperson for announcing the results, despite the fact that other commissioners, the 4 commissioners, distanced themselves. Now, in the 2017 presidential elections, as I've said, the Supreme Court nullified the results, ordering afresh elections. Despite calls of resignation for him to leave office, he stood the test of time. On April 6, 2018, 3 of the remaining 6 commissioners resigned, but earlier on, remember, Roslyn Akombe had resigned. Now, let's talk about the 2022 elections and the significant moments that happened during that particular time. Now, on August 15th, just a week after Kenyans had gone to the ballot to vote for their next leaders, especially the president, 4 commissioners walked out from Chebukati, and the famous, now known as Juliana, as the Cherera 4, pardon me, and this included Juliana Cherera, Francis Wanderi, Irene Masit, and Justus Nyang'aya. Those were the 4 popular commissioners who are called the Cherera 4 before they later resigned from office. Now, 4 of the commissioners, led by the vice chairperson, Juliana Cherera, disowned the results at a press conference. Remember, things were happening at Bomas, then a press conference from Serena Hotel. The Cherera 4 at that point saying they distanced themselves from the results that the chairperson is going to announce, saying, that they do not agree with that. Then Chebukati, against all odds, served his full term of 6 years to the end, leaving office in January of 2023. And he's survived by his wife, Mary Chebukati, and 3 children. So that is the profile of this man, very popular now across the country. But with the passing of the former IEBC chairperson, condolence messages have streaked in from various government leaders, led by President William Ruto. Let's take a look at what the head of state tweeted. And earlier on says he's received the news of the passing of former Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission chairperson WAFULA Chebukati with profound sorrow. Chebukati was a principled and diligent leader who served the nation with integrity. His death is a great loss to the country. Our thoughts and prayers are with the family. To the Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, who says he is deeply saddened by the passing of WAFULA Chebukati. And, he says he was a man of integrity and conviction. He dedicated his life to upholding democracy, serving the nation with diligence. He will always remember him as a man of resilience and wisdom who navigated challenging moments with courage, fairness, and unshakable conviction. Now, to the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Wetangula, who mourned him, saying it is with deep sorrow that he received the heartfelt, or he sends the heartfelt condolences of the former chairperson of the IEBC. As an advocate of great repute, Chebukati embodied the dignity and integrity of the legal profession. During his tenure as chairperson of the IEBC, he carried out the responsibilities with remarkable courage and immense diligence and unwavering commitment to the policies. And then finally, George Natembeya, Governor for Trans Nzoia County, he says he extends his deepest condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of former Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission Chairperson WAFULA Chebukati. His service to the nation will be remembered. May he rest in peace. To your views, as the curtains fall on a man whose legacy is a mixture of praise and condemnation at the helm of Kenya's independent institution, IEBC, citizens have their say on this man, WAFULA Chebukati. Our reporter Martin Masharia was out speaking to a few Kenyans, and here are their sentiments.
Mimi hata nilisikia hiyo kitu jana kwa news ati Chebukati amekufa. Lakini sisi hatujui chanzo cha kifo cha Chebukati. Kenya tunasema tu alale salama, rest in peace. Sisi hatumjaji. Mungu mwenyewe tumeachia Mungu mwenyewe aenda amjaji huko mbele. Juu situation yenye tuko nayo saa hii nayo tuwezi sema. Chebukati ndiye ametuweka kwa situation yenye tuwezi toka ndani, lakini sisi ni wanadamu. Imefanyika na ishafanyika. Uwezi fufua mtu mwenye amekufa. Tungekuwa na uwezo tungemrudisha, lakini isha happen.
Hakuna mtu anapanga kifo. Kifo ni Mungu mwenyewe ndio huwa analeta mtu na anarudi kumchukua. Kwa hivyo ile kitu tu jambo ningesema Chebukati alifanya kazi Kenya kwa nchi yetu ya Kenya kulingana na kadri ya uwezo wake, vile aliweza kuwezeshwa na Mwenyezi Mungu kuifanya, na aliweza kumaliza kazi yake na akaritaya vizuri. Kwa hivyo kazi yake duniani yeye ni kama alikuwa tayari amemaliza. Kile kitu ningependa kusema ni kuambia tu familia yake pole sana kwa hilo jambo ambalo limewapata, na wakubali tu hiyo matokeo. Na tumepoteza kiongozi ambaye alikuwa mkakamavu, kwa sababu hata kama IBC wakati walileta mgawanyiko alisimama kidete na kuhakikisha kwamba ametimiza jukumu lake kama mwananchi mzalendo. So pole sana kwa familia, na tumepoteza kiongozi ambaye alikuwa wa maana sana katika nchi yetu ya Kenya.
Kwanza ni pole kwa familia na the entire nini yake, because amekufa tu kifo ya natural. He rest in internal peace, na watu wa Sawile ilipita. Yeye alifanya kazi yake venye ilikuwa tu na ikaisha kwa santu na family.
Kwa hivyo uchaguzi tunatarajia na IBC ambaye watakao form waache hiyo uchaguzi kuwa ya uhuru na haki. Hiyo tu ndio tunataka katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Hii ni Kenya ambayo tuko independent, tulitoka mambo ya ukoloni kitambo sana. Tukiangalia katika uongozi ile tumekuwa na uongozi ya rais wetu Kenyatta, tumekuja Moi, tumekuja Kibaki, tumekuja Uhuru. Lakini katika ile mambo inafanyika kwa ile serikali iliyo mamlakani saa hii, sisi wote kama Wakenya kwa ujumla, sisi tunashikwa na alama ya mshangao, kwa sababu zile mambo ambazo zinafanyika katika nchi yetu ya Kenya tunashangaa tu kila siku. Ni vile sisi ni wananchi, ni wanyonge, hatuna jambo ambalo tunaweza kufanya. Kitu tu inafanyika na tunaangalia tuna macho. Juu sisi ni wanyonge, hatuna haki.
Indeed, so much to say, so very little time. I can guarantee you there are so many people with various views just across the country about this man who was in charge of one of the key and most important institutions, not just during election period, but all the time. We'll be keeping tabs with that particular story, especially with the family saying they'll communicate more information. Let's switch gears now. Nyeri Archbishop Anthony Muheria has called on President William Ruto's administration to focus on fulfilling its promises that still remain unkept and desist from turning the government into an advertising agency. Speaking to the press at the Consolata Mathari Hospital on Friday, the Archbishop stated that the state is notorious for pouring all its resources into talking about its projects instead of actually implementing them.
The systems are still not working. The hospital is not receiving these reimbursements in time. We still have over 250 million owed to us by government. And this we've been for the last 4 years. We try, we cry, we appeal, we plead, but we seem to receive just very uncommittal responses. Sometimes they say that we are complaining too much or that we exaggerate. In any industry, company, organization, a debt of 250 million is a debt that paralyzes the institution. Yet we have continued offering.
In a quick rejoinder, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi shot back at the Nyeri Archbishop Anthony Muheria, saying the government is not advertising but communicating its progress to the citizens. National Assembly Speaker Moses Wetangula, on his part, told the bishop to stick to his lane and steer the flock.
Nimeona viongozi wengine wa kisiasa na wengine viongozi wa kanisa wakijaribu kutunyamazisha tusiongee mambo ya ile programs ambazo serikali inafanyia wananchi. Na mimi nataka tukumbuke ya kwamba katiba yetu inadai serikali ieleze wananchi ile mipangilio yote inataka kutekeleza ili wananchi waamue kama serikali iendelee na hiyo mambo ama isiendelee. Vile vile wakati maamuzi yamefanywa, katiba inadai ya kwamba wananchi waelezwe wakati hayo mambo yanafanywa na baada ya hayo mambo kufanyika.
Kuna viongozi wengine hata wanatumia nafasi zao kwa jukwaa la kanisa, wanasema serikali isiambie watu wanafanya nini, wafanye tu. Haiwezekani. Kulingana na katiba ni lazima tuwe na public participation, tueleze, kwa sababu huenda tukisema tu serikali ifanye, labda watafanya kitu ambacho kitakera wananchi na wananchi watasema that is dictatorship. Kwa hivyo kuita serikali kama advertising agency ni kupotosha wananchi.
Kama wewe ni bishop, chunga leni yako. Linda mioyo yetu. Kwa sababu sometimes it's very difficult when you rattle people not to answer you back. Sometimes in a manner that is not appropriate. Ukisema government is not an advertising agency, it means you have not read the Constitution 2010 of the Republic of Kenya. Kwa sababu the Constitution that we passed says the centrality of this Constitution are the people of Kenya. They must know, they must participate in everything we do.
Nurses and clinical officers under the Universal Health Coverage Program in Mombasa County took to the streets in a peaceful procession, calling out the government to heed to their demands if they return to work. While addressing journalists outside the Coast General Teaching and Referral Hospital before embarking on their peaceful procession to the governor's office, the Kenya National Union of Nurses, Mombasa Branch Secretary General Ben Cliff Agala highlighted that among their demands include employment terms to be permanent and pensionable and not contractual, their gratuity paid, and job redesignation.
We have a mission, and our mission is conversion to permanent pensionable payment of gratuity and job registration. That is our bare minimum right now. If that is not done, we are not going to go back to work. The numbers that we are having here, some of them are in charges. Some of them are operating facilities without any other people, only with casuals. Right now, mothers are delivering at home because these nurses and CEOs are the people responsible for conducting deliveries. Immunization coverage is going down right now because the government has failed to convert these guys so that these health workers to permanent pensionable so that they can offer their services at a minimum level where they enjoy these are the allowances that their counterparts who are employed in under county government enjoy. That is, we don't enjoy nursing and service allowance. We don't enjoy commuter allowance. We don't have risk allowance, of which when you see all these people, they are really straining, but they can't offer these services because they are demotivated. Hakuna kitu wanaweza fanya sahi, but ni down tools, punda amechoka, and the only thing we can do is to leave these facilities for the government who has failed to act upon our cries. Yes, so the perennial lies that we are having every day, that they are going to be transitioned, is not going to fall into our ears right now. What we need is no work, no PNP, no work. Solidarity.
We can't even go for further training. We cannot get loans because when you go to seek maybe a loan, you want to develop yourself, the banks will always check whether you are employed into permanent and pensionable or you have enough security to guarantee their repayment of their loans. So we are disadvantaged as UHC staff, and our demand still remains that the government must act now. So what we are calling upon the county government of Mombasa, Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Kwale is that they need to join hands together and push for absorption of these people into permanent and pensionable terms.
A majority of Kenyans are still skeptical about President William Ruto's move to form a broad-based government, according to a new poll released by Polytrack Africa. In the survey released on Friday, 41.3% of Kenyans do not support the decision to form the broad-based government, while 36.7% approve of the decision. 22% are yet to get a position 7 months into the coming together of the new-found relationship between President Ruto and the opposition Supreme Raila Odinga. There are varied responses on whether the broad-based government will prioritize delivery of services to Kenyans, with 22.1% optimistic of tangible results. 21.3% believe it is highly unlikely that there will be keen interest on what Mwananchi wants.
36.7% approved of the president's decision and direction in creating the broad-based government. However, 41.3% are not agreeing with the president's directive to create the broad-based government, while 22% are not sure. So in this question, according to these findings, is that a majority of Kenyans, that is 41.3%, do not approve of the president's direction to create the broad-based government, which has accommodated various members of the opposition in his government. 61.8%, an above average rating, noted that they view there would be a change should a reshuffle happen, particularly within the PSs in matters of service delivery. 33.7% of Kenyans involved in this study noted that they would not want to be any reshuffle within the PSs, while 24.5% note that they are not sure, they really are not here or there in matters concerning the PS. But Julius Kibet Bitok, PS Immigration Services, was able to garner a rating of 76.5%. The position was also shared with Honorable Alex Washira, the Principal Secretary Energy, who was also able to garner an approval rating of 76.5%. They were closely followed by Honorable Mary Mudhoni Murioki, PS Public Health and Professional Standards, with an approval rating of 76.2%, noted by Kenyans involved in this study that they would want her retained should there be any reshuffle. 53% noting that they do not want, and these are persons below 30 years, they noted that they would not want the government to consider accommodating persons above 60 years in the government should there be a reshuffle.
All right, let's get sporty. The Sirikwa Classic cross-country race will be held Saturday in Eldoret, where more than 10,000 athletes from different countries have already confirmed to participate. Women's 10-kilometer race record holder in
So looking forward for 2025 season and expect